Hi, this is Shanman from OG Spin Dash Productions, and this is the start of a video series that will be taking a modern look at every main canon Sonic game, from the franchise's humble beginnings on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive to what Sonic is today. I'll be reviewing the game that started it all, Sonic the Hedgehog, released in 1991 for the Sega Genesis, not to be confused with its Master System counterpart. For all who are unfamiliar, Sonic is an anthropomorphic hedgehog conceptualized by Japanese multinational video game developer and publisher Sega for the sole purpose of competing with Nintendo's Mario. As Nintendo had marketed Mario towards younger players, Sega had the intention of promoting Sonic towards teenagers. As shown in advertisements, Sonic had a sarcastic and snarky personality and the ability to run fast thanks to his red sneakers, inspired by Michael Jackson. Sega wanted to plant the idea in players' minds that Mario was out of style and only to be enjoyed by little kids. Sega's video game console, the Genesis, or Mega Drive as it was known overseas, could output 16-bit graphics and an array of colors for more detailed sprites and environments Nintendo's NES could not. This console would pioneer Sonic's first game, a 2D platformer where the goal is to move right, because that genre was all the rage in the 90s. Alright, that's it for our Wikipedia summary. Let's jump into the game. Upon pressing start, the player is introduced to Green Hill Zone, one of the 6 zones. This is the zone you've played 1,000 times. Just hold right on the D-pad, jump occasionally, and you'll get right through with no trouble at all. Except for the insta-kill spike pit at the end of Act 3 that might catch new players off guard. At the end of Act 3, you encounter the antagonist of the series, Dr. Robotnik, or Eggman as he was later named. Taking cues from Mega Man's Dr. Wily, Robotnik is a human evil genius who uses woodland critters to power his many machines for stopping Sonic. And that's right, zones were divided into 3 acts, whereupon beating Eggman at the end of Act 3 would grant you access into the next zone. Marble Zone is a complete contrast to Green Hill, as the gameplay seriously slows down as it lacks the loop-de-loops and downhill slopes that you've come to know. These have been replaced with simple block and switch puzzles, lava pits, and tight spaces. Neither the level nor boss is too difficult as long as you take your time. Next is Spring Yard Zone. There's no real yard to be found. You'll be running along a skyscraper-esque structure with a purple cityscape in the background. Think of Spring Yard as a prototype to Sonic 2's Casino Night Zone. This zone's gimmick is flinging Sonic in all directions by use of bumpers and, hence the level's name, springs. This level has some of the largest open spaces in the game, but often bottlenecks to small corridors with several spike obstacles and moving platforms that can crush Sonic, resulting in immediate death. The Robotnik fight is a little more difficult as the fight asks you to be more aggressive and hit the Egomatic the typical 8 times before he destroys the platform you're standing on. Labyrinth Zone. Maybe the most infamous zone for frustration in the original Sonic the Hedgehog, Labyrinth Zone introduces water to the franchise. Water halves Sonic's movement and jump speed and starts an 18-second death timer on the Genesis version, with warning bells after 15, 10, and 5 seconds. This timer can be stopped only when Sonic jumps out of water or reset when he collides with a fully grown bubble spawned from one of the air cracks throughout the level. I feel Marble and Spring Yard serve as preliminary tests for Labyrinth Zone, as the players taught to use caution in these 2 previous zones, and holding right to win will only get you so far. Labyrinth's boss, in my opinion, is the most difficult in the game. It's not a traditional fight with Robotnik, it's a vertical gauntlet of spear obstacles while the water level is quickly rising. Not only do you have to be precise with your jumps, you have to do it quickly to avoid drowning. Once you reach the end, give Eggman a boop if you want, you never have to really touch him, and open the animal capsule to end the stage. Starlight Zone, many people's favorite zone in the game, including myself. Starlight Zone brings back the loop-de-loops and springs from Green Hill and Spring Yard, while serving as a nice cooldown in difficulty after Labyrinth Zone. The fans that push you around kinda suck, but not really. Not to mention, it has one of the best music tracks in the game. Use the teeter-totters to beat the boss and you win. Scrap Brain Zone, the final level in the game. Enemies and obstacles are everywhere, and you'll probably get hit a lot. Just avoid being crushed by the occasional moving refrigerator and you should be okay if you made it this far. Act 3 brings back water from Labyrinth, but a large portion of this act can be skipped if you find the shortcut. Robotnik's final machine is a little underwhelming as it's just him, 4 refrigerators, and some lightning balls. 8 hits later and you will be given one of the game's 2 final cutscenes, depending on whether or not you got the 6 Chaos Emeralds. Yes, 6 Chaos Emeralds. Speaking of which, this game has 6 special stages, where completing one successfully will reward Sonic with a Chaos Emerald. You have 10 chances to attempt these special stages by bringing 50 rings to the goal ring in Act 1 or 2 of the first 5 zones. Between the first 3 Sonic games on the Genesis, these special stages are my least favorite, as you're thrown into a rotating epileptic maze where you can influence Sonic's movement, sort of. It's there for completionists, but I'm usually okay with letting Robotnik keep the emeralds here. Final thoughts to wrap up this video. Playing Sonic the Hedgehog back in the mid-90s on my preschool Sega Genesis, yes, we had one, was incredible, as the world had never seen a video game like it with its speed, bright colors, and blast processing. Despite the advertising and the legacy the game has, it's one of the slowest 2D Sonic games to this day, and heavily focuses on platforming rather than the speed. It's still a great game today, but I would not recommend it as someone's first 2D Sonic game. I believe its successors did a much better job of capturing what the developers were trying to convey with Sonic's speed. Thank you for watching, and I look forward to reviewing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 for the Sega Genesis in the upcoming future.